Welcome on our first episode, Beyond the Glass Ceiling. I'm very happy to have a guest, Martą Steer. Hello.
Hello. Thank you
Hello.
for having me.
Thank you for coming. So, Marta is a managing director in Marsh, the largest insurance broker globally. So, I'm very proud that Marta has time for us. And I would like today to talk with you about the career path, the ambitions which you have, about your challenges, plans, and everything which is connected to your career. So, because our podcast is about the success, so could you tell me how you define the success?
So I think, success isn't necessarily for me, financial. Maybe perhaps how I thought about it when I was younger, coming out of school. For me, it's being able to have influence, ideas, being able to implement those ideas. I think today, a successful job or a role is one that doesn't feel like a job or doesn't feel like work. So I'd probably say if you feel like you're going to work every single day, then it's probably not the right particular role for you or the right place to be. So for me, it's success being able to grow, being able to learn, being able to have an impact with the ideas that I have.
It sounds great, but is this success changed from the beginning of your career for now, or it's all the time the same? It's about the development.
Yeah, I think truthfully, when I was younger, success for me was a little bit associated with titles, with financial matters, and I think more and more over time, I realized that it's the impact that you're having, the kind of work that you're doing, being able to learn, being able to adapt. I'm someone who is very drawn to energy. I always have been. So I really like people, I like moments, I like environments and places, and being a part of a large organization that works with many different generations, a lot of young people across multiple countries, supporting many different industries and different companies, gives me that energy that I need to really feel fulfilled in what I'm doing.
It sounds like a big dream, which you managed to
You know what? It's
achieve.
it's it is, and for me, it is a dream. I know, sometimes the corporate world is not very popular around, young students. I've recently got interested in the startup ecosystem and the scene. A couple of my friends are very involved, and sometimes the corporate world doesn't have this, positive, successful aspiration for everyone. For me, I truly enjoy it. I think that it has a lot to offer. You can learn so many frameworks, you can meet so many different people, you can be involved in so many projects that are being happening for the very first time. So I think it's a matter of, what one individual dream is.
From my perspective, this diversity helps to build very competitive products, services, and it's really interesting that you can connect so many people, countries, and bring probably the services which are very unique. So it sounds really big opportunity to develop. So when we discuss about your success, what is the biggest professional success in your career?
So recently, and I think we just talked about this before officially we turned on the cameras, but we talked about, just recently I was listed in Forbes Women Poland as one of the 25 women at the business services sector here. So I think for me that, the amount of congratulations and phone calls and emails, and I think because of the Forbes name as well, helped with that. So I think, that and the fact that I was nominated by several people at my organization with a lot of projects that I had delivered and have been involved in seems like a big, like a good job for myself. But at the end of the day, for me, it's really progress is really important. So I truthfully, I celebrate the little things as much as the big things. And I take pride in the sense that I would like to have, small, big successes throughout my career and my personal life, throughout the year, throughout my lifetime. I don't want, and I don't think it's healthy to have that one big wow moment. So I don't necessarily think, I'm there yet. I think that there's more things to come. I'm also not a person who generally plans very strategically, very far ahead. I'm focused in the moment, doing what I love, saying yes to different things that come along the way around the journey, and try my best in those things that come along. And it usually brings me somewhere good. And it's worked so far for me.
So probably some listeners can consider what is it exactly. For example, you participate some courses, you meet different environment, you take challenges at work, which, for example, nobody wants us to take.
Yeah.
What is it exactly,
Yeah.
more or less?
So I think at work it is definitely, I try to be a yes person. So when I get asked to get involved in something that maybe doesn't sound very exciting or doesn't sound like something I'm able to do, I always try to say that no, I should always say yes and always try to be able to get involved and do something with it. And I think that saying yes to those things that you don't necessarily want to do or feel like doing are the ones that you grow the most from. It's easy to get involved in things that are easy and that are fun. So I think having that perspective, but I also have that in my personal life as well. So, for example, this summer I'm going to Nepal with my husband. We're going hiking, and we're not generally hiking people. So I get a lot of questions from my friends. Well, how did you decide on Nepal? Well, I was with some friends, and we were skiing, and my friend said that she went on this trip with her sister once with a guide, and I was like, so can I have contact to the guide? One thing to another, and a week later we had this whole trip booked. So I like new ideas. I'm generally a curious person, and I think that curiosity has led me to try different things. And sometimes you like something, sometimes you don't. Maybe I'll come back when we meet and I can tell you it wasn't a very good trip for me, or maybe I'll come back and I'll say, I really enjoyed it and I want to do more of these kind of things in my free time. So I think it's that curiosity and saying yes to new things and trying new things has helped me along the way in my journey.
So this is the part about the successes, about the biggest one. What of the failures? Is there any?
Yeah, so I think, I try not to dwell on necessarily failures. I think there's always projects and things that don't work out. I typically will pivot very quickly from them. I will be like, okay, what have we learned? Good. And just move on. I don't sit there and dwell and think. I think a lot of things that you do for the first time, you're not going to do very well. So I try to just, push through that. There was one moment in my career when I completely changed direction and I went into the M&A space. And it sounded really exciting. I started to do it and it just wasn't for me for multiple reasons. And I remember starting and I was like, I'm not sure I really enjoy this. And I told myself, I can't give up yet. It's too early. So I gave it 6 months. And after 6 months, I was like, okay, it's still not for me. And so I kind of pivoted and went back. I don't necessarily think of it as a mistake. I think you need to try things that don't necessarily mean it's for you to go back and find your true spot. So I'm quite thankful that I was able to go back to what I was doing before quite easily. And I think I was only able to do that because I left on very good terms. I always delivered the things I was going to deliver. So I think that kind of reputation stays with you so that when you do make a mistake or you do pivot in a direction that you decide isn't for you, you can then kind of come back.
So you've made it. We can say you've made it to have a good reputation, which brings you.
I think so. I think so, and I think that definitely helps. But I think that's built over time, and the company that I've been with, in the role that I've been with, it's 4 or 5 years, but with the group altogether, 10 years. So I think staying a little bit longer helps in such a large organization with thousands of people, and many leaders from different countries. Building those relationships does take quite some time.
So I would like to start with your career. Just go back to the beginning. What inspired you to join Marsh? How it happened? What was the studies? Maybe who maybe advised you or inspire you to take this path?
Take this back. So before I was with Marsh, I was with Mercer. It's another company within our group that does HR consulting. So I was there first So I kind of like moved internally into a new role that they wanted to build. So when I was in Mercer, I was hired there to build up an operations from the ground. I had like one or two people, and we built it up to close to 100. And Marsh was looking to do something similar. They had a center of 100, but they wanted to go up to 600. So that was, build up the capability, centralize new processes, build things around insurance, which was it was in Warsaw. In Warsaw, it was in Warsaw. And before that, I was working at Infosys out of Łódź, and before that, I had different jobs, more based out of the U.S. But I was based working remotely when remote work was not very popular back then. I was based out of Poland, but traveling quite a lot around the world for different projects and different locations to clients. But at some point, I got tired of the traveling. So the traveling was very exciting when I was young. And when I became a mother, it became a little bit more difficult for me to spend so much time on the road and traveling. So I was looking for something that was more based here in Warsaw, close to my home, to be able to go to an office and not travel so much. So that was kind of what pivoted me at that point.
And so you had moments when you considered to give up or change direction. So even if you had such moments, the question is, what made you stay on the track? What is your motivation?
So I think I gave the example of, if I always try to give myself time. I always, we do a lot of coaching for leaderships around change management. Naturally, we are generally, as humans, we don't like change. We like things to stay the same. So I always try to remember that and try to give myself time. So I always try to say, at least 6 months if it's something new. And even if really after those 6 months of doing something, you still feel that then it's fine. Then go back and change something. So I always try to make sure that I give myself the time to really see if it's for me or not.
6 months for me is a lot of time. So you are very patient.
I don't know if I'm naturally not patient, but I just try to, and I think it's just after so many times, you get into a habit of something. It's even like going to the gym, you don't like going to the gym at the beginning. I don't know, there's books that say you do something more than 30 or 40 days in a row, it'll becomes a habit, and then you don't want to stop doing it because it becomes, ingrained. So I think if you're just conscious about the things that you're spending your time on and making sure they're becoming habits, then it just becomes part of who you are and a part of your life.
So, so I want to ask about the first big opportunity which you have, which makes you feel, yes, I belong at this table. Yes. So, have you had such situation?
So I think I'm generally a confident person, and I always have been, even as a child. And so I think if you asked me, when I was 20 years old, I probably would have told you that I belong at the table anyways. And I don't want ego to be confused with confidence. I think it's a silent, it's, the consciousness that your voice matters. So I think I've grown up. I remember a lot of times my friends has asked, what did your parents do to give you that confidence? And I remember my mother once told me that she read this article, I think it was an Elon Tusk one, about his mother, because he had, three quite successful children, or four. And it was about the mother. She never said no to them. She never said no to any ideas that they had. And I think growing up and thinking back how my mother was, she always supported me, which now I look back and I'm like, wow, even some crazy ideas that I don't know if I would be so supportive and not judgmental, but she always gave me the room to try new things, to experiment new things, never made me feel that any idea was stupid, any idea that something, and obviously if it was dangerous or reckless, then it would be a no, but I really was given a lot of freedom and a lot of encouragement, and I think probably that's where some of that confidence comes in. So I think, and I also treat young people the same way. I would never say someone doesn't, belong at a table. I think everyone's voice is important. I think every perspective is important, even if you don't agree with it.
So, what about your dad? It was the same?
So my father died when I was quite young, but my stepfather Also very, 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 I don't remember him ever, telling me that something I've done was wrong. Very supportive. I would say, as much as my mother. But she was like the driving person in my life, probably because, he was the stepfather and came in a little bit further, a little bit later in my life.
And do you remember the hardest first thing? For example, hard first presentation, a hard first board meeting, my leadership role? Because I had such cases. Yeah, I'm wondering how was with you?
So I think I think earlier, I think anytime you do something for the first time, it's not going to be the best. There's usually lots of things you can learn from it. I think the first time I became a people leader when I had to manage people, I think this is where I don't necessarily think I was prepared for that role properly or took it as seriously as, you really need to plan and it's quite an important role for the individual that you are working with, and you shouldn't, take that very lightly. But I'm sure presentations as well, new topics. I mean, I still get nervous if I have to present on something that is completely new to me. It's 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 not easy. If it's something that I presented, 20 times already, I mean, I won't even blink twice. I won't even prepare. So I think it's just a matter, no, if it's your own content, if you know what it is that you're presenting, it's completely different than if you're doing something completely for the first time. I think it's absolutely natural and normal. And I think it would be a little bit strange if you would be doing something for the first time and it didn't cause you to be a bit nervous.
Yeah.
I always tell my daughter, 'cause when she has exams, she gets extremely nervous and anxious about them. And I always tell her that that's good. It means that you care. It means that it matters to you. For me, that's a good sign. It means she wants to do well in school and that, it's important for her.
I agree with her totally. So you have a daughter, so also you have a great. That's. I hope so that she will have also a very nice career and she will do what she loves because it's also important. So you are involved in high level decisions. You have influence. So what helped you to build authority, credibility in your company? What was that?
So I think you build it through time. I think it's like friendship as well, right? You build credibility, you build authority, you build trust through moments and time. So for me, it's important, to keep my word. When I say I'm going to do something, I will do it. I think communication is really important, and I think being there when people ask you for help. I think I try to make sure that I surround myself with people who value that and also are like that, so that when someone does need something that, maybe I'm not able to physically help them myself, but at least try to connect with someone or find someone that can help. And I think that is something that people value and builds trust over time. So I think, trying to be authentic when you communicate, trying to explain things in simple ways, but truthfully without sugarcoating things. And, it's very difficult nowadays not to make promises. The world is changing so quickly. And a lot of times, we have very good intentions, but, we make a decision today and we have to change that decision in a month or in 2 months. So making sure that we articulate that in that kind of way that, we're making decisions today, but something might change. So this flexibility is becoming so important in the way we communicate in order to have this credibility with others. And then being able to say, sorry, when you don't know something, or you don't have the answer, being able to actually say that you don't know, I think is quite important as well.
Nowadays, I believe that running the business, it's really hard, as you said, because many things change. And even if you have a good intentions towards the employees or employer, sometimes it's hard because the things are changing and you don't have influence for everything. Yeah. So, but I do understand and I believe that the people in business understand that part too. So I would like now to switch a little bit for the young people because some of them might listen us. So, what skills, in your opinion, the young people should now develop if they want to lead in the future or any fields? What is the key competence?
So I think growth mindset is really important. So yeah, being open and constantly wanting to learn new things, I think is really important for everyone, including so don't think, you're in university now and stop there. Really try to keep learning and exploring. I think being being flexible and resilient is going to be very important in the future. So being able, I think if you come in and you say, I have this very specific dream and I want to do just this, and you're very rigid around that, I think it's going to be very difficult. I think the more, if you're a little bit, skills are changing, jobs are changing. So being able to reinvent yourself quickly and easily, I think is going to be even more important. And then human empathy, right? AI is going to be, it already is present. I mean, I don't remember the last time I didn't use it on a single day to check something, to verify something, and you have to be careful with the information you get from it. But it's become very powerful, and I think that's going to keep changing and evolving. But that human aspect and that empathy is not something you're going to be able to get from AI. Maybe it'll try, but I think there's still going to be this aspect. And if we are going to lead people in the future, being able to connect with people, listen to people, understand their perspective is something that I think you learn through time, but it's going to become really important. So practicing those skills, I think when I think of myself in my 20s versus today, I'm really trying to actively listen a lot more, not do as much talking, but listening to what people have to say. And I think it's going to be really important to be able to continue with those kind of skills.
Empathy. I agree with you totally. So, also, I would like to ask, what are three things you wish someone had told you when you were 22? Is there anything?
Three things someone had told me. Yeah.
Maybe there is nothing. Maybe you like your part.
Oh no. I think, one motto I have, and I think I've used it a few times, it's, don't ask for permission, like ask for forgiveness. I think this is something, obviously you need to have right intentions and you need to be leading with, you don't want to hurt anyone. You're trying to solve the problem that you've been set to solve. And so I think, and that become easier for me. I just asked for forgiveness. I was trying, but it helps you move faster. And I think these time and age, you have to move fast. If you take too long to make decisions, the landscape and the problem will be completely different if you wait too long. So I think being able to act fast and rely on others, I think is important. I think having a strong team around me is really important. There's only so much you can do on your own, no matter how smart you are and how fast you are. So being able to work with people and not being afraid of having people who are perhaps smarter than you. I think intelligence is such a broad concept. You can be, very smart in one area and not, more challenging in something else. I have friends who are very much like in the arts and in fashion. And I always look and I admire that so much because that's not something that I'm naturally gifted in or see the beauty in. So I think it's just surrounding yourself with different people with different skill sets. And I think this is where the diversity comes in and adds so much power where it comes to, where you're from, how you think, what your passions are, what you're good at.
So, mm, everything is about the passion about diversity. So, what is your one rule which you have as a leader? What do you live as a leader, let's say?
I think it's the one I said before. So not ask for permission, but ask for forgiveness. I think this is quite important for me. At working at a corporation, we have a lot of rules, a lot of frameworks, right? And I think that they're absolutely in place for the right reason. Otherwise, when such a large organization, we'd end up doing all sorts of things differently and not efficiently. So I absolutely believe in them. But sometimes, those rules are made to be challenged, are made to be asked, whether they make sense in a certain scenario. So I think this is still something that stays with me, keeps working, and I hope to continue leading this way.
So, what is your next steps? Because you like the challenges, you like new things. So, I'm very interested to what will be your next step in these terms.
So, every year I get either new projects or new roles. And for me, it's not necessarily about the title, but it's about saying yes, taking on new challenges and seeing where that will bring me. I think the center we have now in Warsaw is still growing and will be growing quite fast for the next 2, 3 years. So I think I'd like to stay here and take it to that next level of the roles that and departments that we're trying to take. But then who knows? I'm very open to moving to new places. I do really like the company that I work for. I think it's a very large company I learn every single day the amount of, different products and services and industries that we service. There you can never get bored from that perspective. But, I'm always open to doing new things, trying new things. I'm constantly getting myself into new hobbies or new rabbit holes, and I call them. I'm trying to learn. I mentioned the startups. I'm also very interested in longevity science and technology. So another thing that I've been in the last year, reading a lot about and trying to try different things. So we'll see. We'll see. I don't have a good answer for you again. I don't necessarily plan with a concrete thing to tell you in 5 years I want to be there. I hope I'm still happy. I hope I'm still well balanced. And, I hope I still have the family and the friends and the support system around me to keep doing what I'm doing.
So, you want to do march. So, tell me, the march in Warsaw is big, no? How big? How many places near there?
So the center that I run is around 850. So, but we have a couple legal entities, so it's more than 2,000 in Poland altogether. But the center that I have there,
So, it's not. It's quite big.
yes.
So, I'm really happy that you had the time today.
No, thank you so much for having me.
So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was Martą Steer from Marsh, the largest insurance broker globally, managing director. So thank you very much. And it
Thank
was really inspiring. And I think that we know today that empathy, challenges, taking chance of the new things is very important. So thank you.
Thank you.